Good evening, everyone. Warmly welcome all of you to the second episode, the second chapter of the undergraduate inventor of the year 2022. And we warmly welcome all of our executive committee members of the UIY 2022 and the subcommittee members and all the participants who are joining with us today to write the second chapter of the UIY 2022 to guide and make the awareness to our applicants for the UIY 2022. So starting on, I would like to invite Nikeshi, our subcommittee treasurer, to do the welcome address for the gathering. Over to you, Nikeshi.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you to each and every one of you for being here with us today. On behalf of ISL UIY Committee, as the treasurer of ISL UIY Committee, it's my great pleasure and honor to welcome you all to this awareness session for UIY applicants. First and foremost, I would like to warmly welcome today's session's guest speakers, Engineer Navadana Kankanamake, Chartered Engineer at Ceylon Executive Board, and immediate past chairman of ISL UIY JIY Committee, and Dr. Dulini Mudunkotur, HOD of Mechanical Engineering Department, University of Sri Jayawardhanapura, and immediate past secretary of ISL JIY UIY Committee. Dear sir, dear madam, thank you for being present today. It is also a pleasure to warmly welcome the chairman of UIY JIY Committee, Engineer Kasun Pereira, the secretary of UIY JIY Committee, Engineer Kishore Kumar Ganeshan, and the vice chairman of UIY JIY Committee, Engineer Lasan Prasad, and Engineer Prabhat Alangal. Next up, I warmly welcome everyone from ISL JIY UI Committee who participated with us today to make this event a great success. ISL UIY competition is a unique platform for recognition and rewarding the nation's most outstanding and innovative undergraduate students and showcasing emerging ideas and innovation that will shape the future. So today's event is specifically organized to give the awareness to the applicants on how to process the competition in future. Finally, I would like to warmly welcome all the applicants. I hope this session will guide you to with proceeding of ISL UIY competition 2022. Thank you. Over to you, Lakshani.
Thank you, Nikeshi. So next up, I would like to invite our dearest Engineer Kishore Kumar Ganeshan, Secretary of our ISL UIY 2022 Committee, to deliver the awareness presentation to all the applicants and the today participants. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Lakshani. Good evening, everyone. Let me share the screen. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Lakshani. And good evening, everybody. So I'm Kishore Kumar. So this is all about discussing about the guidelines regarding the undergraduate inventor of the year program 2022. Before moving into the detailed discussion and awareness session, I would like to convey special thanks to the Ravinath and his team UIY subcommittee team for making this informative session for the applicants of UIY 2022 and take up the responsibility. And thank you very much, team. So from that note, we'll move into the presentation. So, yes. As you all know, what is all about UIY 2022? This is a unique platform for recognizing, rewarding nation most outstanding and innovative engineering students and also providing platform for showcasing emerging ideas and invention that will be marked in future. And this competition will be judged by evaluated by prominent people based on its originality, inventiveness, and scope of use. Also, potential social, environmental, economic values. And at the end line, the winners will enjoy exclusive cash prizes, awards, certificates, as well as they would able to have the opportunity to patent their inventions. So we will look into the each aspects in detail on upcoming slides. So here, if we talk about the UIY timeline, the closing date of the application is done. So today we are here with awareness session. The preliminary competition will be held on 21st of August. And likewise, the final competition that will be held on 30th August. So if needed, if committee thinks that if another more round to be needed, so that will be tentatively planned on 25th of September. So these are the timeline associated with the UIY competition. So with that, let me touch up general guidelines regarding the competition. So I hope by the time now you must have known to these general guidelines, because this has been published with the applications. So basically, these rules and regulations are published by IESL and informed to the each state faculties and every year. And you can participate as an individual or group. So the group can consist up to maximum numbers. So same person either can be part of the individual project or the group project, only one, and also but he or she can't be a part of two group projects. It can be part of one individual project and one group project. So these are the basic conditions. And also the verification letter, which was signed by head of the department, is a mandatory requirement before the preliminary evaluations. So we come to know that most of you did not provide this verification letter. So please make sure to hand over the letter to the committee before the preliminary evaluation day. And also the rest of the things are you already knew regarding the project proposal and everything. That is already you have done on the application level. Moving on. So as I said, the preliminary competition will be held on 21st of August. That is that will be in online base, so that you will be needing a 3-minute video presentation of the invention based on the guidelines given by the IESL. Also, you will also to be submit a report, comprehensive report regarding your invention, which also must be made based on the guidelines. You will be receiving these guidelines shortly after the end of this presentation as a separate document. So you are comply with those guidelines given by committee. And there will be a question and answer session by the panel. And likewise, if we talk about the final competition, then it would be a physical event, which is going to happen on 30th October 2020. As of now, we are planning to have 10 number of team out of the registered applicant. So maximum would be 10 projects will be forwarded into the final. So as of now, the competition will be quite tough. So I ask all the applicants to be ready for that. So for the final competition, you will be needing like a physical prototype or computer models of the invention, which should be working fail-proof, and project report not more than 10 pages, and video clip which market your product, and also to compete the most popular invention. And there will be a a separate award for that. I'll come to that part later. And they are also that will be evaluated by the judge panel based on the question and answer session. So number of additional rounds will be decided according to the considering the total number of the initial submission and the outcome of the preliminary evaluation. If there will be a more than one preliminary round, and then the progress of the invention will also be evaluated and given marks. So please note that. If we move on to the general guidelines for the video presentation. Okay, so once again, let me come back. So for the preliminary competition, you will be needing a 3-minute video presentation as well as the comprehensive report of the invention to be submitted. So for these two things, if we look into the video presentation, the general guidelines are these. So these are the guidelines only. So you can closely comply with these guidelines, or you can up to certain extent you can differ from this, but keep in your mind that differing from the general guideline would be actually making evaluators to do more complex evaluation, so that there would be high chances you will be losing marks. So keep that in mind. So video presentation, keep it simple as possible. The content of the video demonstration should be strictly in line with whatever the things that are comprises in your project report. So like making video by putting the high number of very attractive things that are downloaded from the internet, or self-designed things, but not following whatever you are written on the report will be definitely leads to the rejection of the proposal. So that is, you must note that point. And also it would be better if you able to include solutions, propose solutions, design validation. Even if the results are available up to a certain extent, please include those in the video presentation. And it should not exceed 5 minutes time. And proofread very carefully. And remember, even small error in such a focal part may undermine the credibility of the entire presentation. So please careful on that. And the font should be clear and easy to read. So in the guideline itself, you will be having this document, this presentation, as well as the separate guidelines for the video presentation. So the guideline itself, what are the we have given options for the what are the fonts should be used and how the color background should be used and everything. All the details are available. So it's better you follow those guidelines. So colored font should have dark backgrounds in order to reduce this eye strains and everything, and avoid using shades at any background or titles, and test your presentation ahead of a time to make sure too easy to read from the appropriate distance. Okay, so these are the general thing. And also the text pointers. So based on the past experience, we have seen so many problem with including the number of large amount of text pointers in the video presentation. So whenever, if you are able to illustrate your idea using chart, graphs, or graphics rather than using the text points, that would be much more appreciable. So avoid more than 6 or 7 words per line, 6 or 7 lines per visuals. Make sure that text points are well spaced and not crowded. Likewise, avoid complete sentences, use bulleted phrases, and consistent grammatical construction would also provide proper understanding of the idea that you have to convey. And there are some particular text point sizes being given in the guidelines, so you can follow that one to have a nice presentation. So the separate beginnings must be highlighted using bullets. So keep that in mind. And with that, you can use tabular chart, bar graphs, pie charts, and line graphs based on your supporting data. So tabular chart, just choose the representation model wisely. Like for example, if you want to use time trend analysis, then the line graph would be much better. Likewise, if you want to show some sort of a distributions, then the bar graph would be better. Likewise, the percentages and all pie chart would be better. So something like that. So these are the general guidelines given in the documents that will be provided by committee. Likewise, block or process diagram are good for illustrating structural relationship and the designs. So try to use process diagram while avoid overcrowding. Limit your chart not to more than 10 simple geometric shapes so that you can convey the idea in simple manner. Likewise, online diagram also can be used not only for the electrical design, but also online diagram is application is very vast. So also photographics, graphs and video products can also be used. So make sure the quality of the photographic visuals and do not superimpose text over the image or video. Okay, so these are the major points to be noted. With that note, let me moving into the structure of your report, which is most important thing, because the whatever the evaluation criteria and the marks will be given purely based on your evaluation report. Okay, so ISL has put together some tips for the best practices. What should be included in your technical report? So strictly comply with following guidelines, which will be available report. There will be a template also for your references. So the report should not exceed 4 pages. Okay. So if we take the title, should be specific, concise, and descriptive. And likewise, abstract, concise summary of the product, innovation, or software, whatever you are going to provide as a going to define as an invention. So also include the conclusions in abstract. Try to summarize the conclusion that you are targeted and potential implications of your conclusions. And also, it should consist in a single paragraph with the correct grammar and be self-contained. No abbreviations, no equations or footnotes should come under the abstract, and highlight what is unique in your work in order to catch the in order to attract the reader. Okay, so the another important aspect is the problem domain, identification of the valid domain or research problem, and include the background research. Okay, so and the next is the existing solution. Summarize the existing designs, methodology, and approaches for the identified problem. See here, the existing solution part. Okay, we have included existing solution part in order to identify the amount of the background research that you have done regarding your research. So that gives how much you have gone through the literature review regarding your idea. So that is all about that. And the proposed solution, summarize the proposed designs, methodology, and solving the how you're going to solve the problem. And also there is a uniqueness of the solution part. So here you have to detail about the implementation of the working solution or the methods you use to address the question. So here you should also summarize the innovativeness of your product in a simple terms, and describe more detailed information on the specific topic of your research. And finally comes the design and validation results. Show the results that you achieved in your work and offer the interpretation of those results. Acknowledge any limitation of your work and avoid highly decorative importance of the results. Okay, so what the panels needed would be simply explained results, not highly decorated results. So please keep that also in the mind. So result and discussion should also included in this category. So validation or proof of the results and detail about the usability, applicability, and the importance of the solution product. And also finally, the reference part, provide the citation information for the all publication referred in your report and cite only those references that directly support your work. Okay, so do not cite unnecessary large books just to cover the theories and all. Okay, cite only those references that directly support your work, because panel sometimes needed what are your references and what are the things that has already been studied based on your references. So they will also be looking into that as well. So with that note, I will be moving to the judging criteria. So the competition will be judged by an expert panel representing the academics, industry, as well as the people from the Sri Lankan Investor Commissions. And judge panel will evaluate the project based on the following criteria: explanation of the problem identified, targeted solution, advantage of the project idea and the people affected, expressing the idea clearly with its positive impact. Also, the comparing idea with what already exists, what not exists, and what your solution, where exactly your solution is going to be placed, and demonstrate the idea in the tangible form, like prototype or the like a process diagram, something like that. And viability, commercial viability basically, and if possible, marketing approach of the idea, that would also will be an advantage, and the innovativeness of the project idea. So it's a end of the day, it's a judge's decision will be the final decision. With that, as you all know, I think these has been published in many forums and even your groups as well. So we have this for this year. Awards for the UIY 2022 competition. First place it's 100,000 rupees. Second place it's 70,000. Third place it's 75,000, and third place it's 50,000 rupees. And not only that, for the finalist, 30,000 rupees for each remaining finalist. And there will be another popular invention which will be evaluated based on the reach that can be promoted through these social media platforms, and also best market viable invention. There will be a separate prize, and as well as the certificate. And also you will be given 1 year free of ISL student associate membership for the finalist, and selected inventors will be assigned to a mentor, so that they can have idea about the further development of the invention, and will be guided throughout the patent receiving process with ISL UIY committee. And also you can search more about patent criteria. I think these information are freely available in the YouTube as well. So ISL also supports for the finalists or the best inventions to provide the opportunity for some selected inventions to patent their invention through the Invention Commission. And there are eligibility criteria. If the invention is met the eligibility criteria, yes, ISL would help you to get the patent done. So with that, let me conclude my presentation. So I'll hand over the session to the Lakshani. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you very much, sir, for the insightful presentation. So moving on, next, I would like to invite Engineer Dulini Mudunkotua to share her valuable thoughts and experiences regarding UIY 2021. to the participants. Over to you, madam.
Okay, thank you very much, Lakshani. I do not have a presentation about what I'm going to speak about today. So what I felt was to based on our experience last year and about by looking at the success stories and by looking at the winners of last year's competition, what I felt is it's good if the contestants can focus on three areas. One, the impact of your product or your invention. And second, the users of your invention. Third is attention to the detail of your invention. And the fourth point is how you actually present your invention to the crowd. So talking about the first thing about the impact, when in all of your invention, that comes as one of the most important factors, how your invention is impacting the country or the world in general. And how do you actually convince the audience that you have sufficient impact through your invention? So one thing that I'd like to suggest is if you haven't already thought about this impact, what you can do is you can think of this it's always a good point to focus on this SDG goals, Sustainable Development Goals, and see what kind of goals can align to your invention, which means what kind of these goals can be solved through your invention is a good way to show how impactful your invention is. Another thing is, the numbers speak much louder than the words or graphics that you show. So to quantify your impact, one thing you can do is you can estimate the market size of your invention. And if you're competing in an already existing market, you can actually calculate the market share and convince the audience that there's this convince with large numbers. If you have a really impactful product, obviously you'll have a really large market size, and so that you can actually convince a set of investors if you are to actually implement it. And the second point is, sometimes as engineers, as a person who teach engineering design to students, something that I often feel is students do not really care, or they don't give sufficient thought about the users. So for an example, let's say each time when we do design classes for new students, like let's say semester 3 or 4 students, they would always come up with some kitchen equipments, which are, when you actually look at it, they are very sophisticated. You might feel like they work well. Let's say it's a peeler or like a slicer, vegetable slicer. So they might, the solution might be very sophisticated. They might be very attractive. But if you talk to someone who's like a homemaker, or someone like me who's actually cooking every day in the morning, and if they ask me if I would use it in the morning in my daily cooking, with the time I'm using for my cooking, I would never actually even look at them, considering the time it takes to clean them, and those kind of things actually matters much. But if you really do not speak to the users, you might think your solution is very sophisticated and it's very attractive, but the actual user might even completely neglect it when they're actually using it. For me, like a knife with a chopping board it would do the job like very easily, given the time I have to spend to wash and clean a very complex or a slicer or something like that. So if you're like, if you're producing an invention, it's always good to actually go and speak to the users and put yourself in their shoes and see what kind of challenges they are facing, and observe them when you are thinking when they will need it. And if you can prior observe them, you'll have a good idea about how to satisfy this user. And another very important task is, as someone who's now who has finalized your idea. So one thing that will set you apart from the crowd is how much attention you give to details. So this attention to details is something that would clearly set you apart from the rest of the crowd. So things like doing a risk assessment for your invention, going into the details of what kind of materials you would be using for each part. That is, of course, if you're using a actual product, but even something like a software or a numerical model or something like that, going into the details of how your solution might be more simple or more effective than the others is very important. So please think about it, because sometimes when you might only be considering completing the invention without actually thinking about minor details of it. But the more attention you give to the details, the more attractive your invention will be. And it doesn't matter what you do with all these three steps. If you cannot convince your audience about how effective your invention is, then of course it's not going to be very successful. So you don't have to be like a really great public speaker to do that. You can actually use your visuals, your videos to convince an audience, even without being a really good public speaker yourself. But of course, it's always good to improve your public speaking skills, know some tricks, like, or I think all these engineering faculties are having gavel clubs. Just go there and have get some lessons on how to improve your public speaking. And rather than that, you can also improve them with your ability to make videos, like Engineer Kishore told you before. And so those are some of the tips that I'd like to share with you. So the last time, I think the judges, the winning product was very popular among the judges, because they saw the effort the students had put to actually make prototypes, and that was one of the very important factors that judges considered last time. So the completion of your prototype and or your like whatever the software or model is very important. So make sure you finish it properly before you present it to the audience. So that's I think that's all I have to share with you. So I wish you all the best. We are looking forward to seeing some really nice invention at the end of this competition. And thank you very much, UIY, for inviting me today. So I hope all of you will have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. And next up, the most awaited segment has arrived. So we have the discussion and the Q&A session to clear out all your doubts. And the floor is open to all the participants and the applicants to clear out and raise up all the questions to the panelists. And I would warmly introduce you to the panelists. In the panel, we have our engineer Nawardhana Kankanamge, and engineer Dulini Mudunkutua, and engineer Kishore Kumar Ganeshan, engineer Lalanta Prasad, and engineer Prabhat Ilangakon will be joining with us to the discussion and the Q&A session. And now the floor is open to all the applicants to raise their questions. Over to you all.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello. I have a question about the video presentation. So in the beginning of the slides, it was mentioned a 3-minute video, but
yes,
the slide.
it should be 5 minutes, because I think there was a mistake in first slide, I think.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Uh, please refer, yes, please refer the guidelines that will be shared with you all by UIY team. So that is the right figures. Sorry for the ambiguity. I think there is a mistake on the slide. It should be 5 minutes. Yes, as Engineer Prasad said. Yes.
No, excuse me. Can
Yes,
you?
you can raise the question. Yeah.
Yes, I have a question. Are you going to hold the the preliminary Q&A session in the same date, 21 October? Sorry, 21 August, or in a separate day?
Should be on the same date. Soon after the playing a video presentation and while submitting because Q&A session will be based on your report that you will be submitting to the judge panel. Okay.
Right. Oh, thank you.
And it is also to be noted that based on your report, there will be a number of post-processing so that the committee will also decide whether there would be any necessary for the another round of the preliminary evaluation is needed or not. So that is purely based on the outcome of the preliminary evaluation that is planned to be held on 21st August. Understood?
Hello. So, when do we need to submit the report for the invention? Is it the same as 21st of August?
Prasad,
Yes.
Prasad, are you there?
Yes.
So, what is the requirement regarding the submission of the proposal?
21st.
21st, but
Yes.
what I have understand is you have submitted your what do you call proposal? Is it so?
No, yeah, not the proposal, the report that was
Yes.
explained.
Okay. Prasad, how do we proceed with that?
Actually, we need the report to evaluate the design.
Okay, so it must be before 21st August.
Yes.
Right? Yes. So it's better we decide the date or time and let the applicant know through the personal communication group that was created by Ravina.
Sure, sir. I will soon let them know when the exact date that they have to submit.
So I would like to request for the applicant to work as soon as possible to start the work on your proposals. Okay, so please try to make your reports and the video presentation ready. So we will be letting you know the convenient date and time for the final submission of the report and the video presentation. Okay.
Sure.
Any more questions? Ravinath, please share the guidelines to the participants on the group that you already
Okay, sir.
created. Okay.
Okay,
So,
sir. Sure.
and share this presentation as well.
Sure, sir.
So we have one more question in the chat box. Are we supposed to complete the prototypes and subsequently get the results in the preliminary submission?
It doesn't have to be. Like prototypes, I think it should be like fail-proof prototypes should be submitted for the final evaluations. See, you have to set your target, whether what sort of project that you are going to do. If a software could be a software project, so some sort of a what do you call this? Sort of a what do you call? I don't know what to say. Like you are putting up some things, whatever. So you planned it. So you must tell us exactly what would be your final product. Okay, so that based on that the evaluation will be done. So how exactly the what in what level your innovations are. So that is the tricky question there. Okay, so evaluation done based on that. Okay, so you don't want to complete the prototypes, but if you are about to submit the prototype as a final project, okay, so what is all about and how do you going to do it? Those kind of things. That is clearly mentioned in the guideline. Okay, so once again, if you unable to understand for a moment exactly what has been said during this presentation, I'd like to request you to go through this guidelines once again all by yourself, and you will definitely will understand what should be done for the preliminary as well as the final section. Hope that answers your question.
Yeah, thank you, sir. I hope we answered the question. And then we have another question: how long will be the Q&A session for the evaluation? Yeah, how long will be the Q&A session for evaluation?
That is actually improvised based on your projects by the panelists, judges. Okay, so there is no limitation on Q&A answer session. That will be decided based on the judges. Okay.
Okay, thank
And you will be given the time slot, probably. Okay. So that is there.
Okay, thank you, sir, and hope you answered to that too. And we have another question. In the website, you have mentioned that a brochure should be submitted in the preliminary round. Should we submit a brochure as well?
Raminath and Prasad, help me on this.
Actually, that brochure, we was requesting on that days that when you're applying to a project, then most of them have submitted that brochure type report. So that was enough for the preliminary round. Okay.
And for the brochure was lot of applicants had submitted the kind of brochure type submission in the initial application form. So then we are requesting a report regarding the invention in preliminary rounds.
Okay, hope we answered the question. If you have any more clarification or doubts, feel free to ask.
Is there any questions? Please clarify your doubts.
Do you all have if any other questions? Like, feel free to drop in the chat box, or if you all are not comfortable to speak up, or else we'll move on with the session. Thank you for everyone who raised questions. And if you all have more any other clarifications, feel free to reach out the subcommittee members. I myself, Ravinath, Nikeshi, and Luciru, and all the other subcommittee members are always there to support you all, and all the executive members too. So moving on, to make the movement a memorable one, I would like to warmly invite all of you to switch on your cameras to take a snapshot.
Okay, done. Action, it's done. Okay.
Okay, so thank you. So wind up the today's proceeding, I would warmly invite our beloved subcommittee president, Ravinath, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Yeah, very good evening, all of you. So we have reached to the end of the awareness and Q&A session organized for the applicants of UIY 2022 competition. So it's impossible to end this event without thanking two very important personals who helped to make this event huge success. First of all, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to Engineer Dulini Mudunkatua, head of the Mechanical Engineering Department of University of Sri Javadhanpura, and Secretary of ISL UIY JIY Committee 2021 and 2022 for sharing experiences with us. It must be a great value for the young inventors competing in this competition. And I would like to thank Engineer Navodana Kamkanamge, a chartered electrical engineer in Ceylon Electricity Board and committee member of ISL 2019 to 2021, and president of ISL UIY JIY committee in 2021-2022, and for his tremendous support given to conclude this event in a high note. And I would like to express my thankful thoughts to Engineer Kasun Perera, Chairman of ISL JIY UIY Committee, and Engineer Kishore Kumar Ganeshan, Secretary of ISL JIY UIY Committee, Engineer Lasantha Prasad, Deputy Chairman of ISL JIY UIY Committee, and Engineer Prabhat Tilangakon, and all the committee members of ISL JIY UIY Committee for the guidance and supports given. Without their guidance, this event wouldn't be this much success. Thank you for sparing your valuable time and strength throughout the session, beginning to end. And I would like to thank all the members of ISL UIY subcommittee for their support given throughout this session. Without their support, it's impossible to make this event happen. And finally, I would like to thank all the competitors of this competition for joining with us today. Hope you would get the maximum out of this session and hope to see you soon in preliminary rounds. I'm wishing you best of luck with the competition process. Thank you very much. Over to you, Lakshan.
Thank you, Ravinath. And I'm going to wish very good luck and many energy and enthusiasm to all the contestants to meet and wishing to meet you all on the next preliminary round. And we are always there to support you all, subcommittee and the executive committee. And once again, thank you everyone for joining with us today. Let's meet with the preliminary round with the high note. Thank you and have a good day.